Alright, welcome back to Liam's AP Psychology course. My name is Liam Kim, also known as Shinso Kim, your AP Psychology lecturer for Liam's AP Psychology course. And in today's video, as a continuation of the previous two videos, we're going to talk about some important vocabulary words in AP Psychology that you must know for the upcoming AP Psychology exam. So let's get started right away. So starting with number 2, anorexia nervosa. It sounds like Wingardium Leviosa, right? So that's how I memorized this, anorexia nervosa. Although this term might seem really unfamiliar to you, if you use these kinds of like your own way of memorizing some vocabulary words that you're unfamiliar with, it will help you a lot to kind of like memorize the names. Okay, so anorexia nervosa, which sounds really similar to Wingardium Leviosa, is an eating disorder in which a person, usually an adolescent female, diets and becomes significantly 15% or more underweight, yet still feeling fat, and they continue to starve as a result. So let's say, for example, like if you look around some girls at your school, they always like try to lose some weight, right? Although they are still kind of skinny, they look kind of skinny, they themselves think that they are fat and that they should lose some weight. So that's what I guess like adolescent females of like the entire global population, they tend to think that they are actually more fat than they actually are. So that's why they continue to starve and like lose some weight. And that kind of phenomenon is called anorexia nervosa in terms of AP Psychology. Now let's look at the next word, anti-anxiety drugs. Anti-anxiety drugs are drugs that are used to control anxiety and agitation. So whenever you feel really anxious or whenever you feel really angry, agitated, especially in a more intense sense than a normal person would actually be, you get prescribed this kind of drug, which is called anti-anxiety drugs, and that helps you to like get out of your situation in a quicker sense and in a better sense. Now let's look at antidepressant drugs. Antidepressant drugs are drugs that are used to treat depression, and also they are increasingly prescribed for anxiety. So there are different types that work by altering the availability of various neurotransmitters. So it says antidepressant, right? Antidepressant. And depressant is really closely related to anxiety, right? So if you look at this one, you can just like assume that antidepressant drugs are drugs that help you get away from the depressing situation of being like really anxious or being really agitated. Okay, now let's look at number 25, antipsychotic drugs. These drugs are used to treat schizophrenia and other forms of severe thought disorder. An antisocial personality disorder is a personality disorder in which the person, usually a man, exhibits a lack of conscience for wrongdoing, even toward friends and family members, and they may be aggressive and ruthless or a clever con artist. So whenever you have an antisocial personality disorder, it means that you're really against society, antisocial, right? And people who are usually against society, they're usually kind of aggressive, and they're kind of usually ruthless, right? Yeah, so when you want to like memorize like what this word means, you can always look at the anti and the social part of this word, right? So their personality has something to do that goes against society's like norms that the society kind of like wants you to have. So you're overly aggressive and overly ruthless. Okay, let's look at some anxiety disorders. The definition of anxiety disorders. This is a psychological disorder characterized by distressing, persistent anxiety or maladaptive behaviors that reduce anxiety. And aphasia is an impairment of language usually caused by left hemisphere damage either to the Broca's area, which is related to your speaking skills, or to your Wernicke's area, which is related to your understanding skills. So, amnesia was a kind of a disorder that steals away sleep from you, right? However, aphasia, with a P, is related to your speaking and understanding of language. Now let's look at the definition of applied research. Applied research is a scientific study that aims to solve practical problems. An aptitude test is a test designed to predict a person's future performance, and here aptitude means the capacity to learn. So SAT, your MAP test, TOEFL scores, they are all aptitude tests. They're designed to predict your future based upon your basic understanding of some skills in regards to academics. Now let's look at assimilation. Assimilation is interpreting our new experiences in terms of our existing schemas. So, do you remember the example of the cat and the dog example? So when the baby saw a cat for the first time, the baby would learn that the cat has 4 legs, attached furry hair, and a long tail, right? Then the next day, this kid sees a dog who also has 4 legs, furry hair, and long tail, right? So based upon the learning that this boy had learned through seeing a cat the previous day, when this kid sees a dog the next day, then this kid will again think that the dog is actually a cat because the dog has similar characteristics to a cat, right? So that is what assimilation is. Based on the information that this kid had acquired about a cat the previous day, since the dog, which this kid saw the first time, has some similar characteristics to a cat, this kid came to understand that through assimilation, the dog might actually be a cat, right? Which is not true. But still, the process of thinking in a way, such as like that case, is called assimilation. Okay, now let's look at association areas. Association areas of the cerebral cortex are something that are not involved in primary motor or sensory functions. Rather, they are involved in higher mental functions such as learning, remembering, thinking, and speaking. So your association areas are related to learning, remembering, thinking, and speaking. Just you need to kind of know that these areas are related to like your speaking skills and how to like kind of present yourself in front of others through like expressing your own ideas. Okay, folks, that was the end of today's lecture. In the next video, we'll come back with associative learning. Thank you guys, and good luck with your studies. Goodbye.